Hello, and welcome back to Farmyard Care, the channel for people who know that life on a small farm or in a backyard homestead is built on patience, observation, and heart. If you are someone who checks the brooder before breakfast, worries over the smallest change in your chicks, saves kitchen scraps for the garden, and believes that every living thing in your care matters, then you are in the right place. There is something unforgettable about bringing home a box of day-old chicks. That soft peeping, those tiny bright eyes, the fluff, the warmth, the feeling that you are holding pure new beginnings in your hands. But let me ask you something honest. Have you ever looked into your brooder and felt that sinking weight in your chest because one little chick was standing apart, growing weaker, and you did not know what to do next? That moment is one of the most difficult parts of raising animals. But here is what years of homesteading, flock care, and farm life have taught me. A chick's body usually gives warnings before it gives out. Most of the time, they do not simply fade without a sign. They tell us quietly through their posture, their breathing, their droppings, their appetite, and their behavior. The problem is not that the warning is missing. The problem is that many people do not yet know how to read it. In this video, we are going to break that silent language down together. I'll walk you through the 8 warning signs your chick may be in real danger, explain what is happening inside that tiny body, and show you what you can do right away to give that chick the best chance to recover. Because here on this channel, we are not just raising chickens, we are learning how to care for life with more skill, more confidence, and more compassion. So if you are ready to become a stronger, wiser guardian for your flock, make sure you subscribe to Farmyard Care. And let's begin with the first warning sign, the one so many keepers miss at the start. Sign 1, the silent fast, loss of appetite. Let's start with the first warning sign, and it is one that many new keepers miss because it can look so quiet at first, loss of appetite. When a chick first hatches, nature gives it a small but remarkable advantage. In those final hours before it breaks free from the shell, it absorbs the egg yolk into its body, and that stored nutrition can sustain it for the first 2 to 3 days of life. That is how a whole clutch can hatch over a short window before the mother hen would naturally move them out to forage. But once that reserve is gone, everything changes. A growing chick needs constant fuel. Healthy chicks are busy, curious, and always moving back and forth between feed and water. So if you notice one standing near the feeder without pecking, or sitting still while the others rush in to eat, do not brush that off. A chick that stops eating is not simply being lazy. It is often the first visible sign that something is going wrong. And biologically, the decline can happen fast. When feed intake drops, energy drops with it. Body temperature starts to fall, strength fades, and the immune system becomes weaker by the hour. Many beginners tell themselves the chick is only resting, but the truth is, healthy chicks rarely refuse food without a cause. So here is what you do right away. Check your brooder temperature first, because a chick that is chilled often will not eat well. Make sure the feed is fresh, dry, and easy to reach. Then gently dip the tip of the chick's beak into lukewarm water to encourage drinking. In some cases, adding vitamins and electrolytes to the water can give that chick just enough support to regain strength and start eating again. And once you understand that, the next sign becomes even easier to recognize. Sign 2, the puffy coat, fluffed feathers and drooping wings. The second warning sign can fool people because, at a quick glance, it almost looks cute. You see a chick puffed up like a tiny cotton ball, feathers flared out, wings hanging low, and you think maybe it is just sleepy or settling down. But fluffed feathers paired with drooping wings are not a sweet little pose. They are a red flag. When a chick becomes weak or chilled, its body shifts into survival mode. By fluffing its feathers outward, it is trying to trap as much warm air as possible close to the skin and slow the loss of body heat. And those drooping wings are a sign of exhaustion. They often tell you the chick no longer has the strength to hold itself normally. This matters because young chicks cannot regulate their body temperature well during the first weeks of life. If the brooder is too cold, they will crowd under the heat source and struggle to stay warm. If they are dealing with illness, the body redirects energy toward fighting that stress, leaving very little left for movement, posture, and normal activity. What you are seeing on the outside is the body trying to survive on the inside. So step back and read the whole brooder like a seasoned keeper would. Are all the chicks packed tightly under the lamp? If they are, your setup is likely too cold. During the first week, the temperature about 2.5 inches from the floor should stay around 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Adjust your heat source immediately if needed, because sometimes a simple correction in warmth makes the difference between recovery and decline. And while temperature is a big one, there is another danger that can turn deadly just as quickly if you do not catch it in time. Sign 3. The danger at the rear. Pasty butt. That brings us to sign number 3, a condition that is extremely common in baby chicks and far more dangerous than many people realize. Pasty butt, also called pasted vent. This happens when loose droppings stick to the soft down around the vent and then dry there until they harden, almost like cement. Now, it is important to understand exactly what you are looking at. The vent is the opening where waste leaves the body. It is not the same thing as the belly button area, where a chick may still have a small healing scab from hatching that should never be pulled off. But if the vent itself becomes blocked by dry droppings, the chick cannot pass waste properly. That backup becomes dangerous very quickly, and if it is left alone too long, the chick can die. This often shows up after shipping stress, digestive upset, or when the brooder has been either too hot or too cold. If you find it, your job is to be gentle, patient, and careful. Take a soft washcloth dampened with warm water and hold it against the dry droppings long enough to soften them. Do not peel or yank anything away by force, because the skin in that area is incredibly delicate and can tear easily. Once the blockage has been loosened and wiped away, dry the chick completely so it does not become chilled afterward. Then apply a very small dab of petroleum jelly around the vent to help prevent more droppings from sticking. In those first couple of weeks, make it a habit to check every chick daily, because catching this early is always easier than trying to save a chick once it is already weakened. Sign 4. The warning in the waist. Watery or bloody droppings. One thing homesteading teaches you very quickly is this: the details most people overlook are often the details that matter most. And when it comes to baby chicks, that absolutely includes their droppings. Seasoned keepers learn early to pay attention, because the waist can tell you what the chick cannot. Healthy droppings from a young chick are usually soft but formed, brown or green, and often topped with that little white cap. But when you start seeing droppings that are watery, foamy, slimy, or worst of all, streaked with blood or mucus, that is no small issue. That is a warning that the digestive system is under serious stress. Inside a baby chick, the gut is still immature, and the balance of good bacteria is still being established. That makes the digestive tract especially vulnerable. And when conditions turn warm, damp, and dirty, one of the most dangerous threats can take hold: coccidiosis. This is an intestinal disease caused by microscopic parasites, and it is one of the most common killers of baby chicks. It damages the gut fast, weakens the bird quickly, and if you miss it, things can go downhill in a hurry. So if you ever see blood in the stool, do not wait and hope it passes. Move the affected chicks away from the others and begin treatment right away with an anti-coccidio medication such as amprolium, often sold as Corid. In a serious outbreak, many keepers use 2 teaspoons of 9.6% liquid Corid per gallon of water and provide that as the only drinking source for 3 to 5 days. And just as important as treatment is prevention. Keep that brooder as dry as you possibly can, because moisture is exactly what helps this problem spread. And once a chick starts feeling that kind of internal stress, the next warning sign often shows up in its behavior. Sign 5. The loner. Isolation from the flock. Chickens are social from the very beginning. The moment they hatch, their instinct is to stay close to warmth, movement, and the safety of the group. They eat together, explore together, and pile up together when they rest. So when one chick suddenly pulls away from the flock and sits alone in a corner, that should stop you in your tracks. Isolation is not just a personality quirk in a baby chick. It is often a distress signal. In the animal world, sickness changes behavior. A weak bird will often retreat, become quiet, and reduce activity because the body is trying to conserve every bit of energy it has left. Instead of keeping up with the others, it begins to fall behind. And there is another hard truth here that every flock owner learns sooner or later. Even chicks begin establishing a pecking order early. If one bird is weak, sluggish, or showing blood, the others may start pecking at it. That pushes the sick chick even farther away from the group. Not because it wants solitude, but because it is trying to survive. So when you see that loner behavior, step in. Set up a small sick bay or hospital cage in a quiet, warm place. Give that chick easy access to feed and water without the pressure of stronger birds around it. Sometimes that simple act, removing competition, reducing stress, and providing warmth, is enough to help a weak chick regain strength. But if the problem keeps progressing, one of the most alarming signs you may notice next is in the way that chick breathes. Sign 6. The gasp for air, labored breathing. Sign number 6 is one no keeper forgets because it is painful to watch. Labored breathing in a chick is always serious. A healthy chick breathes so quietly that you hardly notice it. But if you see one breathing with its beak open, stretching its neck forward with each breath, or making wheezing sounds, that chick is struggling for oxygen. Birds have extremely delicate respiratory systems. They do not handle fumes, dust, dampness, or poor air quality the way many people think they do. In fact, some of the most dangerous threats are the ones you cannot see right away. A dirty brooder can release ammonia from accumulated droppings, and that gas can burn and inflame the chick's airways. On top of that, wet or moldy bedding can release fungal spores that lead to aspergillosis, often called brooder pneumonia, which can be devastating in young birds. So the moment you notice breathing distress, improve the air quality immediately. Remove all wet, dirty, or moldy litter and replace it with clean, dry pine shavings. Make sure the brooder has good ventilation without exposing the chicks to cold drafts. And never use cedar bedding because its strong fumes can be harmful to their respiratory system. In some cases, that simple improvement in air can bring almost immediate relief. But if a chick has been fighting for too long, the warning signs can begin to move beyond the lungs and into the nervous system. And that is where the next sign becomes especially unsettling. Sign 7. The stargazer, twisted neck or wry neck. Now we come to one of the most unsettling signs a keeper can see. Have you ever watched a chick stumble backward, lose its balance, or twist its head so far back that it looks like it is staring up into the sky? It is alarming, and for many people, it is downright heartbreaking. This is sign number 7, a condition often called wry neck, crook neck, or stargazing. At first glance, it can look like an injury, almost as if the neck has been damaged. But in most cases, this is actually a neurological problem. One of the most common causes is a serious deficiency in key nutrients, especially vitamin E, selenium, or vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. When those nutrients are missing, the nervous system cannot function the way it should, and the muscles begin to spasm or lose coordination. That is why the chick cannot hold its head normally, and this is where it becomes dangerous very quickly. A chick that cannot control its head cannot eat or drink properly, so even if the original problem is nutritional, the condition can quickly spiral into starvation and dehydration if you do not step in. The good news is that wry neck can often be improved and sometimes fully reversed, but it takes patience and steady care. Separate the chick so it can rest safely, then begin giving the needed vitamins directly. Many keepers use vitamin E and selenium drops 2 or 3 times a day. You may also need to support the chick's head with your hand while offering tiny drops of water and small amounts of wet mash until it can regain better control. Recovery is rarely instant. It may take days or even weeks. But when you stay with it and see that chick begin to hold its head up again, it is one of the most rewarding recoveries you can experience on a homestead. And if that chick has already gone beyond weakness into complete shutdown, then you may be facing the final warning sign. Sign 8, the final crash. Closed eyes and extreme lethargy. This last sign is the most urgent of them all. Closed eyes and extreme lethargy are often the final stage before death. The chick sits motionless, head drooping, body limp, barely responding when you touch it. When you see this, you are no longer looking at a mild problem. You are looking at a chick whose tiny body is running on almost nothing. At this stage, the cause is often severe dehydration, shock, chilling, or total energy depletion. The body has burned through its reserves, and the chick is too weak to recover without immediate help. But even here, you should not give up too soon. Some chicks can still come back if you act fast and do the right things in the right order. First, warm the chick up. A cold chick cannot digest properly no matter what you give it. Wrap it in a warm towel and help the body regain heat. Then you need to provide something quick and absorbable, something that can deliver energy without overwhelming the system. If you do not have poultry electrolytes on hand, you can make a simple emergency solution at home by mixing 1 cup of warm water with 2 teaspoons of sugar or molasses, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. Another option is a raw, lukewarm egg yolk, which is rich in concentrated nutrients and can be very helpful in a crisis. Using a syringe without a needle or a medicine dropper, place 1 small drop at a time on the side of the beak. Never force liquid down the throat. Chickens cannot protect their airway the way mammals do, and it is very easy for them to aspirate and drown. Let each drop sit at the edge of the beak and allow the chick to swallow on its own. Repeat every 10 to 15 minutes. I have seen chicks that looked almost gone begin to open their eyes and respond again within the hour. It does not always happen, but when it does, it feels nothing short of remarkable. Conclusion and call to action. Raising animals teaches you lessons that go far beyond feed, water, and daily chores. It teaches you to notice the small things, to stay present, and to carry real responsibility for the fragile lives placed in your care. When you raise chicks, you are not simply keeping poultry. You are building a living system, and your attention is part of what keeps it healthy. By learning these 8 warning signs, loss of appetite, fluffed feathers, pasty butt, abnormal droppings, isolation, labored breathing, wry neck, and extreme lethargy, you give yourself the chance to step in before it is too late. No keeper saves every single bird. That is one of the hardest truths in farming. But knowledge changes outcomes, and with what you have learned here today, you will save more than you would have before. And that matters. Have you ever brought a weak chick back from the edge? What worked for you? Share your experience in the comments, because your story may help someone else save a life in their own brooder. If this video helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe to Farmyard Care, and share it with another chicken keeper who needs this information. Until next time, keep watching closely, keep caring deeply, and keep growing. See you on the farm.